Hey guys, ignore my messy hair. For today's video, first up, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on the post notification. Yeah, okay. But I want to do a 2-in-1 video. So, the first part of the video is a story time. Something that happened yesterday that was kind of like random and surprising. And then the second part of the video is gonna be, I'm gonna I don't fully have a plan, just something kind of with dance, because I posted a poll not thinking, I posted a poll if you got, asking if you wanted a, like, dance content or Q&A. And you guys voted for dance, so I'm gonna do something dance related, talk about it or something. And because the story time actually relates to dance, so this video has dance. So basically, let me explain. So for a while now, Abby basically had mentioned that they were going to change the schedule a little bit. Let me change the schedule and stuff. And one of the things that she mentioned, let me scoot back a little bit. One of the things she mentioned was that she was going to put warm up and stretch first on Monday. Because our Monday schedule, how it was that we would start with acrobatics. We would have like 45 minutes of for all levels. And the thing I like about it is that it was always adjusted toward the, so like she would start off with some really easy beginner things like, just a handstand or like a falling back bend or something. But like she would start off with like really easy things, and then like she would like have us adjusted and stuff here and there if we needed to, like with me, like I don't have a falling back bend. They're harder to do. So she would have me do a push-up back bend, which my back bend, I got the part, like the flexibility part for it's the push-up part that like I struggle with, and I know this because there's a trick that's similar to it, and it's kind of the same thing as like a back bend, but it is slightly different because instead of like pushing up or like falling and having your like feet in the ground, like for an example, instead of this, my entire legs are like, so I'm basically doing the same thing as a back bend, but the legs, instead of using my feet, like this entire part, like, let me show you, like this is what I'm doing, and I'm doing a back bend from that like position. So like that's like cool. And then like throughout the class she'll like kind of like she'll figure things out, like, if some, like a couple of people like that are like not that advanced, she'll like set aside things for different people. And she figures out what works for what kid, and then like so on, and then like she has like group stuff for like those who can do the group stuff. So like, and then after that we would have like warm up and stretch, which she would first up give us a quick little warm up and stretch, a couple little jumping jacks, a couple little high knees, and then a little tiny bit of stretching because she didn't want to like get her in acro, and then we would have like her warm up and then stuff at the bar with her, and then we would move to Alyssa and all of that. But she wanted to switch them because the reason she set it up like that was because some of the older ALDC dancers don't do acro, so she wanted to like set up that way they can come in a little bit later instead of like have to like go through a class and then like stop all of a sudden. But then she realized for a lot of like the Zoom people, they go to a studio. So like they're doing the worldwide Zoom and going to a studio, and that sounds extremely expensive considering just the worldwide is like pricey as it is. So like all of this, and so like she mentioned like schedule changes would happen and starting on February 1st, and we actually got an email with the new schedule, and I was going through it and it seemed like something I would have to get used to, like that's normal, but it seemed pretty decent. The only thing I was confused on is that there was like two different listings for like some like tumbling and like acro sort of stuff, and it didn't say who the teachers were, and they were like spread out like on different days, and they also had hip hop spread out on different. So I'm like, whatever. It's like whatever. And then yesterday, I freaked out. So like, anyways, we got like a new passcode, all of that. That was good, and I freaked out because I went to log on, and I was logging on around the time and that said for hip hop, and I didn't know if it was beginner hip hop, advanced hip hop, but they posted a different schedule on Instagram. So like they posted a different schedule on Instagram, and I wasn't sure if it was like, I was kind of like, oh, I'm either logging on for an advanced ballet class or I'm logging on for some form of hip hop class. And I went to log on and we could not get the passcode to work. Like we physically, like it was not taking the passcode. So we like tried, so then, and like the schedule just seemed kind of like mixed up or something. So then we tried the old passcode, like we tried both a good amount of time. We could not get it to work, and I started freaking out because I'm like, at this point I was like 6 or 7 minutes late for class. Well, my dad goes into email, and just to check to make sure we had like the right like passcode or something, or that we weren't putting it in. And this is where it gets fun. We received an email that he didn't see beforehand. So we literally went and did all of that for nothing. And what I mean was we received another email saying that something about how there was like a mix-up or something, and that we will have class on Thursday, like starting on Thursday, and that we have access to her Friday Q&A or Ask Abby. So we went through all of that for like nothing, and I just thought that was really random. And the unfortunate thing though is that I realized something yesterday, and it's not like a fun thing, which is that I'm basically like Wednesdays are out of the picture for me talking to Bella. Like it's kind of out of the picture because my dance schedule like goes until like 7 or something, and it starts at like 4:15, and Bella doesn't get out until 5, like out of school. So like Wednesdays are kind of out of the picture, and I say that because of the fact that my mom likes to go to bed early, and so I just go on my phone and like go on Instagram, because she like gets annoyed like over the fact that like sometimes we'll make noise or something, and so she basically just makes us like be quiet for like once she goes to bed. So meaning that like the only time that like I'm ever like not like going to bed early, and by like going to bed I mean going on my phone, scrolling on Instagram. I love that because it's my chance to reply to DMs and different things. And so like I was generally like that's the timing, but the only time that isn't the case is dance. So basically it goes from I don't get to talk to Bella on Wednesdays. Because it literally goes from like going throughout my day, which she's in school and I'm like homeschooled and stuff, to dance, to not getting out until like kind of later in the evening, to basically including like getting out of dance, changing, and because sometimes actually Wednesdays I go back and forth. Sometimes I'll change into a dance outfit and sometimes I'll just wear like my normal clothes because that's easy and it's like not much that night. And then like I can basically just like going on my phone for a little bit and then bed. So don't worry, like I have permission to like go on my phone a little bit. And so so that's interesting. And think that's like one of those things is that I love Bella so much. But like I love training to be a pop star so much. And that basically, oh wait, I realized this entire video is like talking about dance or dance related, so that works. But like, let me adjust. Okay, I was just iffy with that angle. So like, but it's hard because I'm like schedule conflict, and I know that like our schedules just conflict sometimes, and that's very hard because then we're limited on like the time that like we can call and stuff. But long story short, I don't have dance tonight, but I'm actually kind of okay with it because it's a nice little break. Because I love dance, I love training to be a pop star, and Abby really likes it a lot. Like Abby really believes in me and pushes me, and sometimes that can be like sometimes I'm gonna be honest here. That sometimes she like pushes it more than people that I know. Like my parents are, and no, my parents like they want me to go for my dreams and stuff. They're very supportive. All of that, that's good. It just Abby for some reason, and I don't really know, but I'm taking it. I'm enjoying it. Goes over the top with it. Like she, like constantly like, okay, that was good, or like, she's just constantly like, talking good about me, and that's really good. Like an insane amount. Like my parents, they do it the normal amount and a good amount. Abby goes way more than that sometimes, and that I'm only taking it as good because that was something I like to put this way. And that, like, Abby, there's different areas to be in. Like, with Abby, if she ignores you at first, don't take it as a negative, because that usually just means she's waiting to see what you have. But for, like, your talent and what you need to work on, what's good, like, that situation. Not in a negative way. And versus, and then if she, like, promotes you a lot, that's good. That's a really great thing. She really believes in you. And then there's like her way of where, in a way, like, she doesn't really talk great about you, but she doesn't be rude. Like, she's not rude. It's just kind of like, she gives you a lot of correction and not really, like, too much outside of that. And that's also a really great spot to be in, I like to say, because JoJo was in that spot. Abby was constantly giving her correction, and look where she is now. Then, and then there's times when Abby does what she did with me, which is she basically did not say one word to me the first dance class. First time working with me, she did not say one word. I actually kind of knew that, like, I did kind of lie about some, and I just kind of came up with a few things, and because, to tell my parents, because I know my parents, and I know that, like, they kind of went in expecting Abby not to say anything to me, and I knew from that, like, second, I just had a feeling that, like, Abby wasn't trying to be mean when she did it. She was just trying to, like, I kind of hold off on me a little bit. Like, she was trying to, like, make there be some sort of suspense or, like, something for me to work towards instead of just having it handed to me right away. And also, she had a lot of people that day, like, but also with the fact that, like, I just kind of knew that, like, she wasn't being mean when she did that. So, like, I knew that I was gonna work really hard to prove to her that, hey, I'm gonna make you watch me. I'm gonna be so good that you look at me in class and you think, whoa, this person's good. And I knew my parents weren't gonna, like, understand that right away. So I, like, kind of said something beforehand. Like, and, like, don't lie. Like, don't lie. Lying is bad. But, like, in that moment, okay, like, the only other time that, like, I can think of that I straight up lied, like, hardcore lied, and I had kind of a reasoning, and my dad did find out one day, and I didn't get in trouble for it, though, because he understood why, which was, I didn't even lie to my parents. So the thing was, let me explain the story time. So I, like, a really long time ago, I, like, wrote this letter. I kind of explained it, like, the story, but I'm gonna explain, like, the specific part. And it was a letter for my crush. And basically what happened was we got to music class, and since my dad couldn't, like, for some reason, he couldn't name just a spot, like a spot outside. Like, there's so many options there. You could say, just, like, there's so many options, like, and so, like, there's so many options, and basically what happened was that like, so many options, but basically what had happened was he was supposed to, like, name somewhere outside and, like, act like we found this letter and stuff, because I kind of didn't want anyone knowing that was from me except for my crush. But then one thing led to another, to where, like, things backfired, and so the teacher basically found out, and the only way, like, and started asking, like, questions about, like, oh, like, good friends, or, like, more, and I'm like, I literally just straight up lied. Because it was to get out of an awkward situation, and that I knew I was going to have a lot of explaining to do, and a lot of, like, stuff to basically explain. And lying is bad. Don't lie. But in that moment, I, like, it was one of those, like, I didn't fully think through all of my options. I needed an answer right then. Didn't know, like, because here's the main reason of why I had lied with that. Like, it's not that I didn't want them knowing, it was that it had more to do with I wanted him to know before anyone else there knew. And so, like, it was one of those situations where it was one of those situations to where I wanted him to know. Like, before we really, like, put it out there or anything, and that was the thing. And, like, and I'd like to say this is something that I did want to, like, quickly say, which is in case a lot of people were wondering, because I don't think anyone, I have no clue, and that is not dance related, but is crush related, which is in case I figured something out. Because I thought back on it, and I'm like, the entire time, like, for those who don't know, last year at the time I was getting ready, well, not last year, but the year before last year, where I was getting ready for spine surgery. And I was thinking back, and I'm like, I was not scared at all. Like, I had, like, no emotion towards it. And I couldn't figure out why. And then I realized it's because I never thought about it. It was that generally the entire time, the only thought that I put towards it was that was something that literally ended up not happening, but like it wasn't completely off the table yet. Where like, and it was literally the fact that like, if my crush knew, I was more scared over, or if he knew what was gonna happen, because I know my crush, and he freaked out over the back brace, or he had a good reaction to the back brace. So let alone, I wasn't sure if he was gonna make it through or what was gonna happen. Like, I didn't know if he was gonna make it through and like not completely hurt himself or like do something and like throw around a pillow or a beanbag, because I know he had a tendency to enjoy doing that when emotions came, throwing around a beanbag chair, like, nothing like crazy bad, but like still, like, part of me was like, I don't know if he can make it out, like, I'm being perfectly fine, nothing happened situation, or if he can make it out, freaking out, waiting for a phone call from me. Like, it was, like, that was like, peace out, bye.